When I think of Nike running shoes, one word comes to mind: Pegasus. It's Nike's flagship training shoe. It's lightweight, cushioned, stylish, and trusted by runners for more than 40 years. So when I heard that this year Nike was overhauling its training shoe lineup, I feared the worst. Could this be the end of the Pegasus? And I was dead wrong. In fact, the opposite happened. Nike didn't produce one Pegasus. They produced 3. And now I have the 3 horsemen right in front of me. The Pegasus 41, the Pegasus Plus, and the Pegasus Premium. They're weird, cool, and nothing quite like Nike's ever created, especially talking about this guy. So in this video, we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna see how they're different from each other. We'll talk about what their use cases are, and finally we'll finish with whether or not these things are worth the buy.
Nike is currently winning the workout shoe game.
Let's go. So real quick, let's break down why Nike has 3 different versions of the Pegasus on the market. This year, they've completely revamped their running shoe lineup, organizing all of their training shoes under 3 lines, or pillars. There's the supportive pillar called Structure, the max cushion pillar called Vomero, and the responsive pillar called Pegasus. Still with me? Okay, let's add one extra ripple. Each pillar has 3 tiers of running shoe. The original, and then the slightly improved Plus, and then a third, even more souped up, premium version. Now, this switch up is happening in a time when Nike isn't quite dominating the running shoe game like they used to. I mean, sure, you can still make the case that they have the best super shoes in the game. Both marathon world records, men's and women's, were run in Alpha Fly 3s. But the brand's easy running and workout shoes haven't quite been as popular. In fact, the best-selling shoe brand of 2024 in the United States was Brooks. And, as my colleague Michael Doyle pointed out in a recent video and deep dive in Nike's running shoe switch-up,
Nike doesn't like to lose.
Yeah. So this year, Nike tried to simplify their offering by nixing a few of their somewhat popular shoe lines like the Invincible and the Infinity, and taking that technology and folding it into these 3 pillars, and then giving the resulting shoes names that are somewhat recognizable to consumers, like Pegasus. So that's why we have 3. Now, let's break them down and see how they differ from each other. So even at the surface level, you can tell that all 3 of these Pegasi don't have much in common with each other, other than a collective 10mm heel-to-toe drop. The Premium is by far the chunkiest one in terms of weight and stack height, and then the Plus seems to be going in the other direction and is more made like a minimalistic workout shoe. And the OG Peg, let's call it the vanilla Peg, sits somewhere in the middle. So let's start with this one. So I won't spend too much time on the Pegasus 41 because it's the most expected out of the 3. I mean, it's been around for more than 40 years after all. So the big difference that people will notice if they're familiar with the Pegasus lineup is that the midsole is a little bit enhanced from what we've seen in the past. Nike put some React X foam, as opposed to just React foam, in the midsole. So their midsole is a little bit more responsive, a little bouncier, a little bit lighter, something like 13%. And then inside of the midsole are these cool little air zoom pods that you can barely see, you have to zoom in, and that also creates a little bit of bounce. On the top is your classic breathable Pegasus mesh, and then the body of it is very similar to what we've seen in the past. It's lightweight, it's responsive for a training shoe, but it fits a little bit narrow. People with wide feet historically have not liked the Pegasus. I have pretty narrow feet, and even for me it feels a little bit snug. And as a training shoe, I usually go for something a little bit more cushioned than an OG Pegasus, like maybe a Nimbus or a Hoka Clifton. Now let's move on to the Pegasus Plus. Now this shoe threw me for a loop because when you put plus in a name, it usually means that the shoe is going to be big and bulky and in step with all the other Plus named workout shoes that already exist. But this thing is different. This shoe is actually lighter and has a lower stack height than the OG Pegasus. So that completely confused me. The thing is, the Plus is made for speed rather than for support. The midsole is just a big slab of ZoomX foam, which is the foam that Nike uses in their racing shoes like the Vaporfly and the Alpha Fly. And then on top of it is an upper that's pretty transparent and relatively light. If the Plus had a carbon plate, it would basically be a Vaporfly. And I like that Nike made a shoe without a carbon plate, but that has that lightness and bounce to it. It's a perfect middle between a super aggressive, super hard to the ground racing shoe and a more muted, less responsive training shoe. It's like a quick, bulk-free workout shoe, which is kind of rare these days. I think the best way to think about it is to put it in a class with shoes like the Asics Magic Speed 4, the Saucony Endorphin Speed line, and the New Balance Rebel line, which are workout shoes that are quite a bit smaller than the average and that are made for speed. But of course, this one also has this Nike feel to it. It's narrow, it keeps your foot on a north-south plane and tries to limit the side-to-side splaying, which is something that I've liked, something that other people don't. Okay, next up, we have the Pegasus Premium. King Peg. Now this shoe was so weird that as soon as we got it, we did a full video review of our thoughts, our wear test, everything. And if you're into learning what this shoe feels like in even more depth, you can check it out. The link is either here or here. It's really hard for me to tell right now. I think it would be here. Now the idea for the Premium was not to make it even lighter than the Pegasus Plus, but Nike actually took it the other way and souped it up and made it the most powerful shoe of all. And somehow they came up with a sneaker that was both heavier and faster than the two other Pegasuses. Now, here's how that's possible. The Pegasus Premium has one of the most complicated midsoles I've ever seen. It's got 3 layers. First is a layer of Zoom X foam, which is that racing shoe Nike foam that we just talked about. Directly under there is an Air Zoom unit. Now, you might have seen them in the Alpha Fly 3s. In the Alpha Fly 3s, these air-filled units were just little pods near the bottom of the toes. But in the Premium, it's a full-length unit. So that's the explanation for this long strand of red or orange, depending on the type that you get, that kind of looks like it would light up if you tapped both heels together. In practice, it's kind of like a replacement for a carbon plate. It provides some rigidity and also just a little bit of support. And then under that Air Zoom unit is another layer, a layer of Nike React X foam, which is what we find in the Pegasus 41. Altogether, it makes for a really heavy, but also powerful package. It kind of has the feeling of a Hoka Skyward X, or maybe a Brooks Glycerin Max. Now, I'm typically not a huge fan of these big, massive midsoles because they tend to send my feet crashing on either side a little bit. I didn't have that feeling with the Premium because the midsole is so hard, and just like the other versions of the Pegasus, makes you stay upright and just pushes you from south to north. So some of my fastest workouts this year have been done in the Pegasus Premium, but people are split on it, and it's not everyone who's had the same experience. I tend to not mind the weight. Some people find it far too clunky. I'd encourage you to try it for yourself if you don't mind spending a little bit of extra money.
Okay, now that I've wrapped my head around what Nike's trying to do with all these pillars, I've actually become super excited about this series because what they're doing is they're taking both archetypes of workout shoes right now, the big max powerful shoe in the Premium, and then the small pared down light version in the Plus, and they made good versions of both. A company needs both, so I get it. It's like, think of the Alpha Fly and the Vaporfly as racing shoes and then bring them down to workout shoes, and that's what you have. A little light one, a big powerful one. And at this point, I actually think that in 2025, Nike is currently winning the workout shoe game because no company has come out with 2 versions that are this good. So Nike's on top right now. I hate to say it, but they're on top again.
So let's recap. What's the purpose of each version of the Pegasus, and are they worth the buy? Let's start with the Pegasus 41. It's a responsive and narrow training shoe. Not necessarily for workouts, just for easy days. If you're someone who likes a little bit of pop on their easy runs, I would suggest you give this a try. Also works if you have a narrow foot. But if you're someone who likes more cushion, kind of like me, and enjoys a bit of underfoot, maybe go for a Hoka Clifton or an Asics Nimbus or even a Brooks Ghost or Glycerin. But if you've always liked the Pegasus, you will like this one. There's not much change. Meanwhile, if you like a light and responsive and minimalistic workout shoe, these are a great bet. They're about as quick as a non-carbon plated workout shoe can get, and the feel is a lot like the New Balance Rebel with a bit of muscle. Another good benchmark is if you are a Nike person, but you're more a Vaporfly fan than an Alphafly fan when you race, perhaps because the Vaporfly is smaller, then I'm thinking that you might like the Nike Pegasus Plus. And then finally, the Premium. This is a weird shoe, okay? And a lot of people that I've met have told me that they didn't like it. Yet, it's my revelatory shoe of the year. I really like it. I really enjoy it. If you don't mind weight, if you're into that Nike feeling of keeping you straight and forward, and you like a shoe that's really powerful, then I'd recommend this one. Little bonus point here with this one too. A lot of workout shoes don't feel good on easy runs. The Premium feels very normal on easy runs, which is a plus because I don't know about you, but for many of my workouts, I also warm up and cool down in the same shoes, and so the Premiums come in handy when I don't need to change my shoes between start and finish. So these were all of my preliminary takes on the Pegasus trilogy. I'm curious to know your thoughts if you've tried any of the 3 shoes. Let me know in the comments what you thought. And also, if you enjoyed the video and you found it informative, please feel free to share it with a friend who might think the same. And also, if there's another shoe that you'd love to see us review, let us know also in the comments and we'll see what we can do. And thanks for watching. Happy running.